he wasn't sure whether it was doctor or uncle. And I could remember who you are. So we've got that. Firstly, as a Wiradjuri, Yorta Yorta, Bangarang man, it's my duty, my responsibility, my law, L-O-R-E, that I acknowledge the fact we are on Aboriginal land. In this instance, we are in the land of the Kulin Nation, and we're on the land of the people. More specifically, this area, as I understand it, is an area that's having some discussions about, but the Wurundjeri people and the Bunurong people specifically are the people for this area. So I acknowledge them, their ancestors, their heritage, their gift to this country, and the country's gift to them. And their history is something that's really special. And if anybody had seen anything of the first Australians, there was an old fella on that called William Barrack, who featured very strongly. He walked over 30 miles with a broken leg to make a petition to talk about the things that are really important, and that's the courage, the heritage, and the wisdom of those people. So, firstly, my respects to those people of the Wurundjeri, the Bunurong, and the rest of the Kulin Nation. I'd also like to pay my respects to other Aboriginal nations who are represented here today, and we have people from right across Australia, and it is important that they feel that they're on Aboriginal land and amongst Indigenous people and feel strengthened by that. All of the things about the life that you live and all about your area and the things that I said a bit earlier. But the meanings that life held is also really, really important. And there were do's and don'ts. You did this, you don't do that. And everybody knows that if you've got a, what's the word, recalcitrant child, I think Keating used it for a Prime Minister somewhere. But it was about people who don't necessarily follow what you want them to. And that wisdom. Lots of times I hear today, and people will say to me, are you retired yet? Well, I'm not sure if that's wishful thinking or what. But I do know that no, I'm not. I do know that in fact there is much, much more to do. And anything that I've learned, I have a responsibility. I have a responsibility to ensure that I can inform as many people as I can about the things that I learned that are good. I don't want them to learn all those bad things I used to practice. But I do want to be able to say, here are some of the things about that wisdom, and here are the things, because it's a part of that wisdom that makes you fulfil that elder role. And I think that's really important. I was talking to Brian Butler, and if you're here, Brian, I salute you. I was talking to Brian down here. I was talking to Brian yesterday, and this retirement issue came up, and I said, listen, bud, I'm not going to be retired, my super ain't up to it. And it's the sort of thing about, there's a role that's there required by people who are experienced, who are knowledgeable, who have wisdom to provide leadership. And this applies not only to the people that I know in this country, but this applies. I met some Māori elders yesterday. I see other people here, and you look at some of those old people, it's an incredible time. I heard last week in a tribute to William Cooper, who actually walked from an area some 30 miles or 20 kilometres to protest about what was happening with the Jewish people. A man that's facing all the trials and tribulations of being black in Australia, and he does that. And there was a Jewish old man there, and he was an incredible speaker, and his wisdom, the knowledge that he had was something to look at. So other nations and people have people of wisdom too, and we need to make sure we protect them and keep them. So anybody who's looking to have a go at me, make sure that someone looks after me. They've got this sort of issue about a culture base, you know, the traditions of systems of learning. And you look at all of those things. There's shelter, there's storytelling, economy, rights, the learnings, the things that you wore, language, relationships, marriage, social rules, food, of course, travel, dance, rituals, all of those things. Centre point of it all. Centre point of it is Aboriginal culture base. And all cultures evolve. All cultures evolve. And there are things included in our culture base that never were. And unfortunately, some of them aren't altogether good. But there are belief systems, there are value systems. There's a spirituality. Here in Melbourne, and if you ever have a look at the media and figure out what the blazes is Schoolies Week about, then you'll see that there's a lack of spiritual well-being and spiritual belief. Here in this city, they have to have lockouts after a particular time. And I get fearful for our young people that venture to the city, because it's a place of violence. And it's a place where, in fact, alcohol seems to mean that you're bigger, tougher and stronger than anyone that's going round. And some of us have been in that place, I might add. Well, we figured the same thing. And I didn't mean to say that in all that time that I was a charge you had, if I offended anybody, I do ask your forgiveness. There are those things then about a spirituality and a belief, a spiritual well-being that people don't have. I actually believe that the theme song for Australia, and increasingly becoming a theme song, is, "What about me? It isn't fair. I want to live because I want my share." More of that tonight. Anyone going to the advancement? And of course, that whole essence, very essence of life and respect for knowledge. And I believe there are 5 circles of respect that people need to know about. Self, family, extended family, Aboriginal community, larger community. And you throw people in the pond, the ripples go through. If you've got respect for yourself, I saw a young fellow the other day, he said, I'm outside the health service actually. He said, I'm going to have another go trying to get my act together so I can get well. I said, son, when you get up in the morning, have a look in the mirror. And don't be frightened, but have a look in the mirror. Have a look, no, I didn't say that. I said, have a look in the mirror. And you just look and tell yourself, just say to yourself, some of the things that are good about you. Some of the things that are good about you as a person. Some of the things that are good about you and the group that you belong to in terms of your family. Some of the things that are good about you in terms of the people that are your people. And some of the things that are good about you in terms of your interaction with the larger community. And I said, that will make your day, son. That'll give you a strength to move, to get out of all of that rubbish that you're in. And I believe that's really important. And family is a centre point of that. The land, of course, how can you go past, how important the land is to our people. I'm from that mob of people. My father's land, central, southern New South Wales. My mother's land, Murray River. They tell me there are 2 types of blackfellas, basically. Ernie Dingo told me this one time, I hope he's right. And he said, the 2 types of blackfella, one's freshwater, one's saltwater. Apart from the fact that he's taller than me and better looking and all that sort of stuff. But I said, well, yeah, well, I took it to be true, and I said, well, that means, Brad,